SportsCenter on ESPN and the ESPN app. The NBA playoff push continues with our doubleheader tonight. First, we have Nuggets Thunder at 8 Eastern. Then Zion and the Pelicans face the Blazers. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern with NBA Countdown on ESPN and the ESPN app. In tonight's Pelicans-Blazers game, all eyes will continue to be on Zion as the Pelicans try to push for a playoff spot. Since coming back from injury with his knee, which sidelined him for the first 3 months of his rookie season, Zion has averaged 22 points and 7.5 boards per game. So, Brian, what would you say the biggest area of improvement is for Zion?
Everywhere. And I'm just excited about him talking about where he needs to improve because I can see that he can improve everywhere. Like, for example, he is a way better passer than I ever knew him to be. He throws terrific finesse passes, and when he learns how the game moves, which will take him years, he's going to be a devastating passer. Good luck double teaming him.
Right.
That's how good he is. And so much of what he's gotten has just been on feel and power. You remember when you were a rookie?
It's scary.
You have
no idea what's coming with this kid. The fact that he's only 19, to me, I just want to see him stay healthy because I know how hard he works. Everything is going to improve, but Brian mentioned it earlier, you don't really understand the game until you're about 3 or 4 years in, and then you kind of get a real idea of it. Then you continue to build the mental side of the game because it's 90% mental. This kid is incredible physically. Like I said, he's one of those rare stars that can get his 20 and 10 just in the flow of the game. You don't have to slow the game down and go to him. But once you realize that you can slow the game down, and to me, he doesn't even exert his physical dominance yet. I don't think he understands how strong he really is. So there's still a lot of learning to do, and that's no disrespect. I just think that's tremendous upside, and this kid's going to be a superstar.
He gets so many of his baskets off of offensive rebounds.
Hustle.
When they learn actually how to set him up and play, and then he has the offensive rebounds.
Scary.
Forget about it, man.
How imposing can he be, though, on defense? Because we've seen glimpses of that, too.
He volleyball swatted that shot to like the 15th row, and that was, that wasn't even the one I was talking about, but that was impressive. I think it's scary because in the back of your mind, no matter what, if he's on the court, if you even beat your man, that Zion is coming. So that puts a little bit of doubt, even though he's 6'5", 6'6". But he's coming, he can jump like a center. So that little piece of doubt in people's mind, always wondering, you got to know where Zion is, even if he's not guarding you, is definitely going to help their defense.
The one thing I think, if I were nitpicking, because I do agree with you that there's a lot of things that are going to come with just growth, right? But his free throw shooting. He wasn't a good free throw shooter in college, and he hasn't necessarily been a good free throw shooter in the NBA.
People are just going to start fouling him.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing he's going to have to specifically work on moving forward. Because, he's going to be the go-to guy at the end of games, and you're going to have to be able to hit those. So.
Sure.
All right, Russell Westbrook was ejected from last night's game after receiving 2 technical fouls. He now has 13 techs this season, 3 shy of a suspension.
Oh.
After the game, Westbrook explained his situation. Let's take a listen.
Do you feel like refs have a quicker trigger on text for you because of?
I'm not sure, man. If you watch the game, I played the whole game. I didn't shoot a free throw. I'm at the basket more than probably anybody in the last. I don't know. Since I've been in the league, you know what I'm saying? I get no free throws today. But ideally, I just got to keep going. There's no protecting myself. And that's just what it is. I'm okay with it. I'm a guy that's going to compete every single night and go out and play my game and find ways to be effective. And they blow the whistle, they do, they don't. Who cares? I cannot allow it to affect who I am as a person and what I'm representing and who I am. So that's on me.
So, Matt, because of a possible suspension looming after he gets to 16, do you worry about the amount of techs?
No, not at all. If he gets it, he gets it. If he has to sit down the game, he probably needs a little bit of rest anyway. But Russ wants it more than anyone else out there, and I'm taking Russ 10 out of 10 times. You know what I mean? I love just the dog and desire in him. His energy is contagious, and I think you see it rubbing off on that Houston Rockets team now. James is kind of realizing he can take a back seat every once in a while and let Russ do his thing. And you would love to have a guy like this on your team.
As Matt said, he does take games off to rest. So I would just say to him, listen, it's his game check's over 300,000. Yeah. You may not want to lose that 300,000, so don't do it. And in the playoffs, I think it's 7 techs.
Yeah.
If he gets to 7 techs in the playoffs, it means the Rockets are on a long run.
Right.
So I don't think they're worried about it at all, to be honest.
Do you think they can get on a long run?
No.
No? You don't buy into them? Matt?
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Brian.
I watch them play, and I respect what they're doing. I just question that in a playoff series, whether they can defend and rebound with that lineup.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
That's my biggest question. You know, I doubted it from the jump, and, you know, hats off to what they've been able to accomplish since they went to that small ball lineup. PJ Tucker's been playing great. Everyone's been playing well. But can they do it in the playoffs where the game slows down and each possession is so important and you're not really having anyone on that glass to protect the offensive glass? You know, offensive rebounds are what killed team in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see. But right now they're playing great. So right now, during the playoffs, it just takes to be hot at the right time and going in the right rhythm, and they're probably going to be on a high note. So they're going to be scary. Just like the Miami's going to be in the East, the Houston's going to be that scary in the West.
Yeah, I give them like a puncher's chance, basically, because if they do get hot, right, then they could potentially knock someone out. They've been competitive with the Lakers and been competitive with the Clippers in the regular season, so we'll see. But I'm with you. No rebounds, no rings. See, Pat, we're not all doubting you. We know that works, too. All right, up next, Dr. J turns 70 tomorrow. We'll celebrate his birthday with some vintage Dr. J video in crunch time. But first, it's time for our second distant replay of the day. This one from this date in 2009, featuring Russell Westbrook.
I'll tell you, having it knocked away.
Oh, are you, Jay? Give it to him.
Back, there it is.
That's the Philly Warriors court.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I see that court.
Where's Andres Beatrice?
Making money on the bench.
The jump. Big fight tomorrow night. You saw it. Matt, who you got?
I got Wilder. His right hand has saved him a lot of time. Tremendous puncher. But Fury, he's in shape. He's ready. Who's to say? I think it was kind of tight on the cards at the time, the first time when he knocked him out. Fury's a great unorthodox kind of boxer, so it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see.
I don't know which one's Tyson and which one's Wilder.
The British guy is Tyson. He's the bald guy.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm with you, Matt. I think Tyson Fury's going to make this an even better match, I think, than even last time. He's just unorthodox is the right word. He's a little weird in his movements, and it can just stun you.
He stopped drinking 20 to 30 Diet Cokes a day to get in shape for this.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting. It was a good match the first time. I think it's going to be fireworks this time, too.
He was on the Stan Van Gundy diet before that. All right, Dr. J turns 70 tomorrow. Shout out to the four-time MVP, champion, and Hall of Famer. Brian, what's your favorite Dr. J moment?
The first All-Star game I ever watched was his last All-Star game, and they were celebrating him, and so I learned all about him. And I'll bet Dr. J could still dunk on his 70th birthday. How many people in the history of the world could dunk at age 70? I'll bet he could throw it down.
Didn't he used to have a video, or last year didn't he do a video, or was it 2 years ago?
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
A couple years ago he did on his documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a trendsetter. You know what I mean? He was I wouldn't say Jordan before Jordan, but, comparable as far as just the acrobatics in the air, dunking on people, the way he big old hands controlled the ball. So happy birthday to a legend, man.
He is a legend.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Warriors announced yesterday that Klay Thompson, your old teammate Matt, will officially not play this season. So, Matt, this is a good idea, or do you want to see him play this year?
No, if he's not ready, he's not ready. I think they probably want to shut that door, realizing they gave the world a little bit, okay, we might give you Steph this year, but, Klay is someone, and obviously Klay had a much more significant injury. So rest up an entire year, which I think is the right move. You're going to get a little bit of Klay, and then we're going to see what the Warriors are about next year.
If the Warriors were in 9th place right now, had Steph not gotten hurt, I wonder if this would be different, but since we'll never know. We'll never know how he is.
Klay might be interested, though, I've read at least, right, that he may be trying to see if he can get on Team USA for the Olympics. That might be something.
They'd love to have him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
for
They'd
sure.
love to have him.
All right, next, another former Warrior, Harrison Barnes, declared recently that he will not cut his hair or shave until the Kings hit 500 or the season ends. That last part is important. Barnes dropped 32 points in a win over the Grizzlies last night, but the Kings are only 22-33. Brian, is Barnes playing like a guy who wants to shave?
He can want to shave, but he may not be shaving anytime soon.
I think his face is just itching, so he's out there playing hard. But, I think he'll probably have to shave that in the offseason.
Yeah. I think the season will catch up with
He
him.
may not have thought that out before he said it. He may have been in the moment.
That's 2 more months, man, of no shaving. That's still a long time. All right, for the first time since Al Horford's rookie season, he's coming off the bench in each of his last couple of games here. He told reporters that he believes he'll continue to come off the bench moving forward. Coach Brett Brown of the Sixers did emphasize today that he has faith in Horford, saying, quote, "We have seen the history of Al Horford, and all of us would be very naive to think some of his signing wasn't driven to where we want him to be involved in April, May, and we hope June." Matt, do you think, or do you buy the Sixers playing Horford as a sixth man?
Yeah, I do. I think I mentioned it earlier. I think it's just too much clutter with the starting unit. I think him coming off the bench, he's a team player first. You know that, so it's not going to be an issue in the locker room. And it's great to have his experience with that second younger, the younger unit. So who plays in the stretch, down the stretch, and crunch time will be, still up for debate. But I like him coming off the bench.
Now wait a minute. They did sign him for April, May, and June.
Yeah.
But they also gave him $100 million for November, December, January, February. Brett is trying to put a good face on this.
Yeah.
This has not worked out.
Yeah.
His role has changed. What they need him to do has changed again, because they don't have shooters. They have to have him be a floor spacer. He can't play pick and roll like he always has. He's gotten booed by his home fans. It happened again last night. It's happened several times.
They booed Santa Claus though, so
They did.
I know. This is not working out.
I agree with you on that.
It is. I mean, I agree with you, Matt, in that he can do that role because he is a versatile player who won't make waves. But let's not ignore this is just a smiley face we put on it.
Well, to your point, he doesn't make waves, but he's spoken about the fit plenty already this season, which is a bit out of character for him, which goes to show you how maybe dire the situation is.
The Sixers, again, I talked about the cone of uncertainty. They could end up in the finals. They could be out in the first round. If they're out early, we're going to see massive changes to this team, I would expect, over the summer. And Al Horford's future may not be in Philadelphia.
Along with Brett Brown.
Yeah, Brett Brown is definitely on the hot seat, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that, because it's easier in most cases to remove the coach, unfortunately, in that situation than any of the players.
If they go out early, I think we're looking at both.
Yeah. All right, we have some news here. The Pistons have announced that Markieff Morris has been bought out. What do you make of this, Brian? Who do you think could use him?
He's had a pretty good season this year, shooting almost 40% from three-point range. Obviously, the Lakers need help here. I would expect them to show up.
I think he's going to come be a roommate with his brother, and there's going to be a Clipper house and a Lakers house.
House divided.
Right.
A house divided.
That would be funny, actually.
Cannot stand.
All right, there is for Matt Barnes, for Brian Windhorst, I'm George Sedano. Be sure to check out the Jump pregame show live from Milwaukee tomorrow night.